So I'm standing in a beautiful backyard in front of wonderful vegetables. I'm here with Steve Carper. And Steve, before we jump into all of the beauty that we see around us, give us a little history on how you got here and what this place was before.
Well, sure, William. Like a lot of folks, we moved into this place, or I should say, I moved in 2012, and we decided to do some renovating of the garden and updating. And we had a very typical landscape irrigation system where basically we have sprinklers on the edge of the yard trying to cover everything from the corners, right? So, you know, we haven't really had a final design in mind, so we're trying to make do with what we've got, really. And so we haven't modified the infrastructure of the sprinkler system much. We're just trying to sort of make it so that it's functional and use it as sort of a supplemental tool, and then augment that with some hand watering.
Well, and it's not that you went through, when you bought the place, you didn't just shear everything back and start new. You kept some of the old stuff, you've taken out stuff. So the sprinklers really weren't efficacious like they used to be because things have changed.
Exactly. Plants grow up, landscapes shift.
You take out grass.
You take out grass, you build
beds,
buildings, and things just sort of get in the way, and the old system just doesn't work anymore. So most of what we had to do is move things a foot or two in one direction or the other, or add risers to get the sprinkler so it's up above the plant material or the hardscape or whatever it is that's blocking.
All relatively easy fixes, though, if you adjust them as you see they need to be adjusted.
Exactly. Much more easy than, say, digging new trenches, running new pipes, things of that nature.
Well, and I see that, you know, you have a great fire pit, so clearly you wanted some lawn left so you could, you know, have functions out here and enjoy the yard. But then you also wanted more vegetables, because you've done a great job of working edibles in just to the beds themselves. But then tell me about these things behind me here.
Well, these are just very basic raised beds. We've built them from 2x4s, so you have 8 foot wide, 8 foot length, 4 foot width, and they're 4 high. And we filled those with 4-way mix, which is just a very well-rounded garden soil that has regular soil, sand, compost, and cow manure, all blended into a pre-mix. And boy, obviously the plants have really, really liked it.
Well, and two, then this isn't on the sprinkler system, though. So this is something that you have to actually
Correct. It gets a little bit of, again, our sprinkler system sort of covers everything, so it doesn't necessarily meet the needs of the garden 100%. So then we need to go out and see what needs a little extra attention by hand in the evenings.
Well, and I can tell you that seeing countless gardens throughout my life at people's places, this is a clear indication of how a raised bed garden can really make a difference with vegetables and edible
It really
stuff.
does. You know, you get it up into a nice, loose, well-draining soil that has plenty of nutrients and minerals in there, and the plants are going to do just fine.
Well, one of the things I really like about doing this story with you, Steve, is you do pay a lot of attention to how you water, but you also had a hobby that you were really interested in. So let's walk over there, talk a little bit about that, okay?
Absolutely.
Okay, Steve, we're here for this new passion of yours, which I'm going to make a little leap of logic here and say it's beer making, because you like hops.
I do have a fondness for hops, like much of Portland.
Yes, yeah, really.
I'm in good company, but we grow our own varieties here in the backyard. Try to make a couple of batches each year, just more for the fun of it. We call it our backyard series.
That's funny.
You know, in Oregon we have such great access to wonderful ingredients, but you know, we all have gardens. It's fun to produce your own edibles, and it's fun to do the same thing with hops as well.
Well, now tell me then, how do you pay attention to watering these? Is it a process that's different than just the sprinkler system?
Well, sure. As we mentioned earlier, we sort of have a very generic irrigation system, but we do schedule it using weather-based control. So we set that to operate based on what weather conditions are doing, but then, as I said, there are some deficiencies throughout the yard, so I end up having to come out and do supplemental hand watering with most of my hops, because the way our irrigation is set up, they just don't get direct irrigation. So I just pay attention to how they look. Are they drooping, or do they look happy and healthy? Hops are, you know, once they get down and established,
Yeah.
they can take care of themselves pretty well and just require a little bit of supplemental watering.
And really, again, I think you hit the words right, that right are so correct, that it's paying attention to your garden.
Exactly.
Not only for water, but for insects, for disease. All of that stuff happens if you just pay a
Manage
little
the
attention.
stress.
Yeah.
Exactly. They'll let you know when they're thirsty. They won't always tell you when they've had enough. Kind
That's
of like
right.
people.
That is true.
But you just look for those signs of a little bit of a droop or a little bit of less perkiness, and give them a drink, and then they usually bounce right back and produce lovely flowers like you see here.
And you actually do. You love brewing beer.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. These are Columbus hops. These are one of the 3 primary varieties that we grow. These are kind of a piney, pungent hop that will go really well as a dry hop in an IPA, something like that. We also grow Mount Hoods and Sterlings, which are a little more, they're basically domestic versions of European noble hops that do really well in light European style lagers like Pilsner, Helles. I think I'm going to put my Sterlings into a Kolsch this year, something like that.
Oh, there you go.
Sound all right?
Now, what is it? We've interviewed you before, and where do you work at?
I work for the Tualatin Valley Water District. I'm the conservation technician there.
But you guys are also connected to another really great organization.
That's right, the Regional Water Providers Consortium. It's a great resource for water efficiency information. You go to the website at conserveh2o.org, and you can find all sorts of helpful information for how to set your sprinkler, how to know how much water your sprinklers are putting out. Just a great resource.
And even when they say that they give you a record of like this day you might need to water this much.
Yeah, it's called the weekly watering number. It's basically a weekly adjustment that you can do to your manual, your automated controller, to make weekly adjustments based on what weather conditions actually are.
Well, you know, we all love our gardens, and at this time of year, especially when we have hot weather, we really do need to pay more attention. You can go nowhere better than the Regional Water Providers Consortium website to really get information to help you know how to manage your water and your water bill. Steve, I can't wait to taste some beer that you make. Thank you so much.
Thanks, William.